Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, her ex-husband was a former priest.
He had an affair with a massage therapist. She's also a life coach.
So your theory is she coached him right over at her house.
Exactly.
Now she faces off with her ex.
The counselor told me you were the worst narcissist they have ever seen.
As long as I kept a roof over your head, you loved me to death.
And his new wife.
She needs to leave the room.
Can she speak?
I don't care if she speaks or not. You have to be quiet. No, I don't.
She has wanted to love you.
This is the wonderful marriage that I apparently split up, right?
You don't know the first thing about this marriage. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, Pamela says she was happily married to Pete, a former priest and current licensed counselor for 17 years, until he met a massage therapist and life coach named Lori while on a couples retreat. His wife wasn't on the retreat, by the way. Pamela hired a private investigator and uncovered an affair with Lori, who Pamela now calls a homewrecker, well, and a lot worse. Pamela says Pete then dropped another bomb when he announced by phone he wanted a divorce. But Pamela says Pete did not just leave her, he also abandoned their teenage sons, Joseph and Pete Jr., because she says he loved Lori more than them. Now Pamela and her 18-year-old son Joseph are pointing the finger at Pete and Lori, who they blame for the death of 15-year-old Pete Jr., who died by suicide only 6 months ago. Joseph even left a rage-filled voice message for his father, whom he now calls Satan. I'll let you hear it.
Hey, piece of this is your son. Remember the one that you didn't kill? You piece of worthless nobody. You're going to die lonely. I will never see you again in my life. I hope Satan sticks a pitchfork right there. You worthless nobody. Kill yourself.
Not the kind of message a father wants to get from his son. Pamela says that was just Joseph expressing his anger and hate towards his father, whom Pamela says alienated himself from his son's lives by berating her and promoting his love and adoration for Lori, who is now his wife.
My ex-husband is a sex addict, a liar, a cheater. He would go to strip clubs. He cheated on me with hookers. I was absolutely devastated. I had to get tested for STDs. Thank goodness tests came back negative. Then Pete had an affair with a life coach, massage therapist, and he announces out of the blue that he wants a divorce. He told me, I'm not in love with you. I never have been. I'm not willing to try. I'm leaving. Pete left not only me, he left our 2 sons. I felt like an atom bomb had been dropped on me, as if the world just stopped. I hired a private investigator to do some background work. He followed Pete and Lori to a marina several times and to Lori's home. The investigator got pictures of Pete and Lori hugging and kissing each other. I felt dead when I saw the pictures of Pete and Lori kissing. Finally, it was visual. It was there. There was no mistaking it. She's a narcissistic ego feeder, and someday she's going to learn that her middle name is retirement package. I do not want anything to do with Pete or Lori. Looking back on our whole life, Pete thought only with his penis and his wallet.
Okay, now you're married for 17 years.
Yes.
He was a priest before.
He was a priest before I met him, yes.
Okay, but he exited the priesthood. There's a proper way to do that, an improper way to do it. He went through the process to
to
extricate himself from that with their blessing, correct?
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand how this came about. You say that Pete lied about wanting to leave you before he met Lori in 2011, because he says that he wanted to get out of this marriage before he ever met her.
Those are all lies.
That's what I'm saying. You say that's a lie.
Those are all lies.
Okay.
When it talks about we live separate, no, not at all. We were still man and wife. He was still in my bed.
You two were still intimate?
Yes.
And as far as you knew, you were still a couple. You were still husband and wife, still having sex, still intimate.
We had our moments, as all married couples do, as all families do, and anytime I questioned, well, maybe we could go talk to a counselor, because he had been to strip bars, he had picked up hooker, he would tell me, you can't go to your doctor, you can't go to our priest, I can't go to any counselor in driving distance, because they're all referral sources. I lived under a gag order because he would tell me I would be risking the roof over my own children's heads.
He had already confessed to you that he had been involved with strippers and hookers?
He would occasionally confess, you know, he messed up, please forgive me, I love you, I was under a lot of stress. My pregnancies were very difficult. I would do my best to meet Pete's needs, and I would spend the rest of the night on the couch because I would be too disturbing for him to rest, because I was restless.
What do you mean he would occasionally confess that? How does that come up occasionally? Oh, by the way,
something would be bothering him, but the time that it really came up was I got a bad yeast infection that would not go away. And I went to the doctor. Doctor said, okay, we'll run some tests. And the doctor's nurse, kidding, I don't need to run a bunch of STD tests, do I? And I jokingly said, not unless there's something I need to kill my husband for that I don't know about. I went home. Pete came home from work late that night. I told him what had happened. A few hours later, he broke down and said, you need to get the doctor to run those tests. And how sorry he was. He'd never done it before, wouldn't do it again.
You said he got stopped by the police.
On my 50th birthday, I had broken my wrist, so I was in a cast from here to here. He came in about 3 o'clock this morning and crawled into my bed, and he was very restless. And I asked, what's wrong? And he said, I got a ticket. And I said, oh God, not another speeding ticket. We can't afford that. And he said, no, it wasn't a traffic violation, it was for littering. He said he was sitting at a stoplight and a police car pulled up beside him, looked in past him at the woman in the seat behind him. He got nervous. He flipped the cigarette out the window in front of the police car. When the light changed, that gave the police the opportunity to pull him over, blue light flashing, into a parking lot. He told me he had done nothing with the woman, really didn't intend to. He messed up again. He gave her some money so she'd shut up and get out. She just wanted to get away. When they got out of the vehicle, the police said, sir, do you know you have a well-known prostitute in the front seat with you? And he said, I just saw a woman walk in at night. It wasn't safe. I was just going to give her a ride. The police didn't buy that. And then he started in with the master manipulator. Honey, they were so mean to me. They were so hard on me, telling me that everything was, it was just so wrong, and they were just really eating into me. He started saying, I was experiencing feelings for someone, but it's a mistake, and I'm not going there. It's so wrong. I mean, you're the love of my life, and it's not going to happen. And then he started spilling his guts about leaving Joseph in hotel rooms on hockey trips so he could go pick up prostitutes and go to strip bars. Our son was 9, 10, 11 years old.
Is the short version of this, he picked up a hooker and the cops stopped him?
Yeah. And I got it expunged trying to protect our family business.
So he gets caught with a hooker, you cover his ass.
Yes.
And then he goes off and calls you back and says, oh, by the way.
Yes.
I don't love you, never have.
Yes.
And he does this at a couples retreat that he went to by himself. I always thought couples retreat meant you came as a couple, not to go form a couple.
I had to take care of our children. I had to keep the business going.
Well, how does a guy go to a couples retreat without his other half?
I asked, can we not go together? Can we not come up with someone to help take care of the children? He said, no, he would go because he could probably get part of it paid for because he could contribute to some activity at the retreat and therefore get his price reduced. So I wasn't invited.
Okay, so he comes in and says, there's this great couples retreat I'm going to without you so I can get a discount.
Yes.
So if I go without you, I don't have to pay for you, so I'll just find another half there.
That wasn't in the game plan.
Well, that's how it worked out,
That's
though.
how it
So he
worked
goes
out.
there, and while he's there, he gets a massage
A paid massage.
from her,
Yes.
who's now his wife.
Who comes home from that massage, gee, honey, you know, she's also a life coach and she can help me with this other business that he's picked up and I really need help with that. So you need to pay off of our business for me to go get massages every month or two.
So you paid her.
I wrote the checks because that's what was supposed to be happening. She was his life coach for the other part of his business, side business.
So your theory is she coached him right out of the house
Exactly.
and right over to her house.
Exactly.
And you paid her to do that?
Yes.
All right, I need a break. Pamela says she could have filed a lawsuit against her ex-husband, Pete's mistress, and now wife, Lori, for having sex with him while they were still married. She could have filed an alienation of affection
Criminal
type.
conversation is the title of the law.
They call it criminal conversation. It's a nice term. We'll meet Pete and Lori and find out what they have to say about that next, because they're here. And we're going to hear their side of this right after the break.
Pamela has become a pitiful victim.
There's no fury like a scorned wife.
With Lori, I have a teammate, I have a partner who I don't feel is just sucking the life out of me.
And later, do you believe that she would want your son to be dead?
Yes.
You sorry son of a bitch!
Tuesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. She fell in love online.
I have sent David my life savings.
Your son and daughter don't believe he exists.
This is all a fairy tale, Mom.
We think this man's identity has been stolen.
Producers went from New Jersey
This look at all familiar?
to Nigeria to find him.
He may be real, but this check's phony. And the passport is fake. His eyebrows are drawn on.
That's Tuesday.
Lori destroyed our family. We were fine until Pete started seeing her as his life coach and massage therapist. One time, I grabbed my cell phone and dialed his, and I picked it up. Hit the call list. Lori, 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 Lori. I said, that's it. What type of a person leads a married man, a father, away from his home, his wife, his children? What kind of a person does that? Lori is a homewrecker.
Well, Pamela says her ex-husband Pete walked out of their happy 17-year marriage after he started an affair with his massage therapist and life coach, Lori. But Pete says, no, 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 no. Wait a minute. Pamela set him up by agreeing to separate and live as single people and then hired a PI to catch him cheating. But he says, no, no, we were on a break. Pete says Pamela threatened to sue his then mistress Lori for $375,000 for alienation of affection and criminal conversation because she had sex with Pete while he was still married.
Pamela has become a pitiful victim. She is a dependent woman that I rescued emotionally, financially, and socially. We were not a good match. I fell in love with Lori because I did truly discover my soulmate. Lori and I have everything that I tried desperately to create with Pamela. I am also a fan of massage, and she was a licensed masseuse.
Pete is amazing. He's my very best friend.
I really do like that dress.
Do you?
Yeah.
We miss each other very much during the day. When we're together, we walk and hike. Pamela set Pete up, even though she told him that they were separated. She hired a PI to follow him and find him at my house. She wanted to prove that he was being unfaithful.
Pamela tried to sue Lori for adultery.
There's no fury like a scorned wife. In our state, the spouse can sue you for alienation of affection, meaning stole his affection from her. She wanted $375,000.
There is no case there. We did not have a loving marriage. We were separated under the same roof well before Lori even entered the picture. With Lori, I have a teammate. I have a partner who I don't feel is just sucking the life out of me.
Okay, so you've been listening to the show so far. She's saying that right up until the day you left to go to this couples retreat, that you weren't separated, that you were in fact actively engaged in an intimate relationship with her. Mm-hmm. Is that not true?
Yeah, that is not true, Dr. Phil.
So, well, wait a minute. So she's lying about that?
That's correct.
Okay.
No, I am telling the truth. I've never wavered and will not.
The retreat was in September of 2011. We had been sleeping separate. I was sleeping upstairs on a mattress on the attic floor, probably from about the beginning of that year.
So for 9 months?
He began sleeping on a mattress upstairs sometime after I broke my arm on October 17th, 2011, because just like with my pregnancies, was too disturbing for him to get the sleep he said he needed to work. It did not stop him from coming down, sitting on the couch at night, loving scratching backs with our kids sitting right there with us, going up, having sex in our marriage bed, and then eventually later on, some nights he would go on upstairs.
Okay, now listen, I'm just trying to get the facts here because you do counseling, right?
That's right.
You have to deal with the facts here.
Yeah.
Somebody's not telling the truth.
I hate he said, she said scenario. I understand how you feel. I was sleeping upstairs. I'm not saying that we never, ever had intimate relationships. What I'm saying is that it was very dissatisfying, very unhappy, and it didn't happen the way that Pamela is saying it.
But you did come downstairs and have intimate relations with her.
On rare occasions.
Okay, was one of those rare occasions right before you went on this couples retreat without your wife?
No, I don't believe so.
Yes, it was, and after he came back repeatedly.
Did you have relations with her after you came back from the couples retreat you went to without your wife?
Well,
Yes.
first of all, it was not a couples retreat. It was an individual retreat that I went on seeking discernment for my life. And I came away from there with the conviction that my marriage was not viable.
It would have been nice if my husband had shared that information with me.
Yeah.
I did. I
No.
did. You've got a very
A
selective memory.
narcissist alters reality to fit what they need, and you have been diagnosed by the counselors you took me to. They told me you were the worst narcissist they have ever seen, and when I came home and said that, you said they used the N word. They were out to get you, and I was not to go back to either one of those counselors.
I've never been diagnosed with narcissism. I have ran a successful practice of counseling for 20 years. I have many client testimonies to testify that I am an honest, good-hearted man.
I didn't lie.
As long
called
as
the
I
police.
paid and kept a
I
roof
called
over
the
your head
police.
and 3 squares on the table, you loved me to death.
This is the wonderful marriage.
I have only seen you one time.
Because you refused.
I've lived under your gag order our entire marriage. No more.
Truth and love are going to win out here.
Thank God it will.
And you're coming out on the short end of the stick, sweetie.
No, sir.
And later, I have to tell you, that's the most stunning answer I think I've heard in as long as I can remember.
Wednesday on Dr. Phil.
I feel him kick. I can feel his little feet.
My daughter thinks she's pregnant, and she's not.
She actually thinks her baby's Jesus.
I am pregnant.
And it is Jesus.
You believe this baby's the Son of God?
Yes.
The ultrasound was performed on Haley.
You say, I'm giving birth. You don't believe that.
You are not a lie detector test, and you need to shut it.
All this November.
Yes!
I use heroin every couple hours. I would rather feed my drug habit than my unborn child.
My sister. How could she do this to a baby?
It gets worse.
Right now, she is really high.
Stop the tape. You're either going to watch this and get in the game, or you're out.
I never had guilt or second thoughts after my first time with Amanda. She was about 12 years old.
Part of me knew that this was not the way that fathers love their daughters.
Your mother videotapes this.
Yes. How could you? Watch him do those things to me to participate, even.
He groomed you.
So did you. Let her talk. Amanda, you haven't seen your father since you were 13 years old.
You feel like you've done nothing wrong.
20 years ago, if these kinds of things were joked about.
Are you kidding me? Molesting your daughter was wink, yuck, yuck in 96? That is complete and utter bull.
Plus,
He has hit rock bottom again.
Survivor Todd returns.
Are you trying to drink yourself to death?
I'm still living it, but I don't want to.
He's having seizures.
He had 12 yesterday, 2 today.
And 1 strikes during the show. All this November.
Did you have intimate relations with her after the retreat?
Yes.
No, the last time was in August of 2012. But I had been sleeping separate.
Not all the time.
I mean,
You can
and so
ask
y'all
her
met
son.
at the retreat.
So this is the wonderful marriage that I apparently split
I've
up,
only
right?
seen you one time. The moment I went to set up the funeral plans for my child, I just found 24 hours before. I walk in. As soon as I go in the funeral home, the funeral director says, oh, they are already here making plans. They demand half of Peter's ashes. He had already told me the day before, you and Joseph make arrangements. You let me know what they were. No. And here he was. And she's sitting there beside him.
Well, I'm married
I'd
to
never
him.
laid eyes on her before.
I went with my husband to
I
see
never
his
laid
son.
eyes on her
They
before,
said, oh,
so
you're
I
here for the
asked
family?
Pete,
We said, we
please,
are family.
She needs to leave the room. She's never met our son, Peter. I am in shock. It's the first time I've ever laid eyes on her. This is the second time.
Yeah.
Now's the second time.
Now is the second time. I've never spoken with her on the phone or anything. This is the second time.
Because you refused.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this.
She has wanted to love you.
No one has offered to put her in my presence until the day she was there at the funeral home when I had just found my child. You are still a lying narcissist, and you have no business being a counselor, father, or anything like that.
Look me in the eye.
I am looking you in the eye. I have upheld the truth our entire marriage, and I am not backing down now. I've lived under your gag order our entire marriage. No more.
You know
no
what?
more.
The truth and love are going to win out here.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Thank God it will.
And you're coming out on the short end of the stick, sweetheart.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say something.
Our child.
I have been divorced. I have been divorced.
I don't care if she speaks or not. She's
Well, then
not
you have
part
to be
of my
quiet.
family.
You have to be quiet
No,
first.
I don't. Not at this moment. Our children are the victim, not him, and definitely not her.
okay. All right, what'd you want to say, Lori?
What I would like to say to you is I have been divorced before. I was a single mom for 5 years. You never involve your children. I always told my son, yeah, mom's crying, stop.
Were you responsible for
Let me finish.
children when they needed medical
Yes, I
and mental
was.
health? He
yes,
wasn't.
I was. Yes, he was.
2 years to
We
get a
have
court order.
proof.
He hadn't paid
We
it.
have proof that he
So
paid
did
every
I.
dime. Whatever.
It took him 2 years.
He would have been in jail in our state if he didn't pay. So
That
that's
still
over.
has the court documents.
That's okay.
That's all I
That's
need to
okay. But
say.
I'm saying you do not bring your children into adult matters. They
did
cannot
it.
handle it.
He did.
But anyway,
Can I do a
let's
quick
back-
rewind
yeah,
for just a
I
second?
want to back up because my
No,
story
can I do
is-
a quick rewind? You can rewind
Yeah.
too, but may I do a quick rewind? Did I hear you say, this is the marriage I supposedly ruined?
Yes. The wonderful marriage that she said they had.
You've commented on this before. Lori had a very different way of describing their chance meeting at the funeral home. Let's listen to that, and then I want to say something to Lori that I think might help.
Some of the crazy things she's done, Oh my goodness. After Peter Jr. died, I accidentally saw Pamela at the funeral home. And when she saw me, you would have thought that I had just melted the witch. I mean, she melted on the floor and started screaming to the top of her lungs and went ballistic. Oh my God, I can't see her, not now, not now. Get her out of my sight.
You realize her son had just killed himself with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm. Less than 24 hours prior.
And you're mocking her.
I didn't mock her.
You want to play that back?
Well, I just did that. I didn't do it at the funeral home. I just got up and said, I'll be the bigger person and I'll walk out, and I left and stayed outside.
Slammed hands down just like he did. I'll be the bigger person. Wow. Walked past me and I just said, thank you. That was it.
No.
In fairness to you, when you say this is the marriage that I supposedly destroyed, you don't know the first thing about this marriage.
No, just what I've been told.
So for you to make that comment is both inappropriate and uninformed. Mm-hmm. You're missing about 17 out of 17 and a half years. Mm-hmm. So for you to say, this is the marriage I broke up?
Well, I was listening to what she was saying, and she was saying how he had frequented strip clubs, he had done this, he had done that. To me, that...
I don't know what broke up your multiple marriages.
I don't believe that that's a good marriage.
I don't know what broke up your multiple marriages, but in mine, we changed our vows to until death us unite, not part. I was raised, love forgives.
You know not the meaning of the word forgiveness, Pamela.
I do.
No, you don't. I have forgiven you. I forgive you for the death of Peter.
I'm not asking for your forgiveness.
Yeah.
Pete says his ex-wife Pamela swore she would stop at nothing to turn their sons against him if he went through with the divorce. Well, we're going to meet their 18-year-old son and find out why he says his father abandoned him, that his mother did not alienate him from his father, that his father did a very good job of that all on his own. We'll be right back.
I think my dad is Satan. Hell yes, I'm angry and disappointed with my dad. I hold him responsible for my brother's death. I think Lori's the homewrecker and she's a whore.
And later...
I have my own opinion.
No, you don't. You are her surrogate spouse.
I have my own opinion.
He is a surrogate spouse to this woman.
Pamela has turned Joseph against his father to the point that we both fear for our lives.
Joseph is cussing and wishing dead the parent who does truly love him.
I'll fight your fat right now. Let's go, you fat.
I started carrying pepper spray.
This is my son. This is my flesh and blood. This is the boy whose diaper I changed.
I am also afraid that he may burn the house down, he may hurt my animals, he may stab me in the dark.
The boy is capable of either suicide or homicide.
Well, Pete and his current wife, Lori, believe that his 18-year-old son, Joseph, is capable of harming them and blame his ex-wife, Pamela, for fueling Joseph's anger. Now, Pete also says Pamela continues to blame him for the death of their 15-year-old son, Peter Jr., who committed suicide just 6 months ago.
In March 2016, I came home and I found my son Peter. He committed suicide using a shotgun. When I told Joseph what had happened, he just exploded in this gut-wrenching sound. He immediately said, "Dad's done this."
Peter got the loaded shotgun from availability under her roof.
terribly sorry for your loss. What did you want to say?
Well, I just wondered why, you know, the only people who truly love my brother are on this side. It seems unbalanced. And for you to say, like, you're afraid of me, you never wanted to see me. It was always my mom who always backed up me going to see you. You never asked to see me. You never been a part of my life. I don't know why you're here. You never knew my brother. You never cared about my brother. And you never cared about my brother deep down. Same about me. I lost my personality to you, pretty much, because the only way I could really connect to you was with your favorite sport, hockey. I did like part of it. I did. I really did. That was my only way to bond with you, and it was always the threat of abandonment if I didn't. And Peter didn't put up with that attitude.
Why do you think your little brother took his life?
First of all, you're a counselor, and you never said he had depression. Did you not take it seriously?
I had just left the funeral home where I held Peter's dead body, whom I did not see for 1 year before he took his life.
Because you put her before him.
Tuesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. She fell in love online.
I have sent David my life savings.
Is she being scammed?
The passport is fake. His eyebrows are drawn on.
That's Tuesday.
Do you feel like you missed a call there?
Exactly. In what part, Dr. Phil?
Well, he's asking you if you failed to recognize a risk factor with your youngest son.
No, I wrote an email to Pamela on June the 30th, 2015, and to Joseph's counselor and the supervisor, pleading, begging for a family counseling
The counselor
session.
that you walked out on to talk to her when she was in the she was in the parking lot. The 5-minute counseling session you walked out on.
No, Joseph.
Yes,
you did.
Yes, you did.
This is the counselor that you had also wrapped around your baby finger, Pamela, okay?
No.
Peter, I had just left the funeral home where I held Peter's dead body.
After you tried to force her into my mom's life. That's the first thing.
Okay, you asked me a question, let me answer. We had left the funeral home. The lady at the funeral home called me saying, it's okay now for you to come back and see your son's body, whom I did not see for 1 year before he took his life on March the 30th.
Because you put her before him.
Let me talk, okay? So I said to your counselor, I said, I'm waiting for a call from the funeral home to tell me when I can go back. It wasn't her on the phone at all. But you assumed it was,
You met
Joseph.
for 2 minutes and you walked out on me.
No. I said to the counselor, this is the funeral home. I'm going to tell them that I want to come back and see my son. And I said, excuse me, please. And I was gone like 10, 15 seconds. I was supposed to have a time with you at that session to talk to your counselor. We all went together. Pamela went in and spent 50 minutes with your counselor and allowed me the last 10 minutes.
That is an absolute lie.
No,
I went
look,
in less than 5 minutes. And that counselor escorted Joseph out to the car to me.
You are a walking, living
a narcissistic liar that has to rebuild your own truth because the truth itself does not live in you.
You are a breathing lie, okay? That's my summation of you.
That's fine. I don't care what your summation of me is. What I care about is our children.
Yeah, but you know what? Your lies have caused this boy to turn against me.
I have my own opinions. I have my own opinions.
No, you don't.
I do.
You are her surrogate.
Yeah, I do. I have my own opinions.
My dear friends, he is a surrogate spouse to this woman who...
They don't care what you think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Ask him who taught him to tie his shoes when he was in 5th grade.
You mean the normal thing?
Because this one wanted to keep him in Velcro, and he is still in Velcro.
Because I had to buy their shoes at Goodwill, yard sales, and Walmart, where you got $300 floor shimes for yourself.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And who earned all the money, Pamela?
And
in the
who ran
household?
your business for 15 years, helped you build it, and never got paid 1 cent from it?
No, and who hired a woman It tells me it takes her 3 hours to file my insurance, while you
Because she's
work
not
all
doing the
day
rest of
and all
your
night.
business,
No.
including caretaking for your children and meeting your damn near sexually impossible needs at night.
Oh.
I have never, ever heard one answer the question the way you just answered it. That's the most stunning answer I think I've heard in as long as I can remember. Hey, Dr. Phil here. We're ready to start the show, but we're waiting on you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping of the Dr. Phil Show, call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445 or visit drphil.com. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. I have to go back to a question because I found the answer shocking, frankly. When I asked you if you felt like you had perhaps missed a risk factor, you said, no, no, no. I have to tell you, that's the most stunning answer I think I've heard in as long as I can remember. Because
I did not fully understand your question, Dr.
Well, I hope
Phil.
not. You said no, 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 because I have an email that I wrote and I begged this one and this one and this one and this one and this one.
For family counseling.
In
For all of
2015.
So you did
Dr.
understand.
Phil, talk. Pamela?
So you did understand the question, because I have to tell you, I've talked to a lot of parents that have lost children that have taken their own lives, and I have never, ever heard one answer the question the way you just answered it. I've never talked to a parent
I didn't even finish
say,
my answer.
I've never talked to a parent who didn't immediately say, yes, I damn sure did miss something. I pray to God I could do that over 1,000,000 times over.
Dr. Phil, I was forbidden to have contact with my son. No, I was unable to be with him.
I'm not asking you about the sociogram of your life. I'm asking you about how you feel about whether or not you missed an active risk factor in your son's life.
And I'm telling you, I was forbidden to have contact with him. So
Okay.
how could
I get that. Now answer my question.
If I missed an active factor? No. I said in there, Peter is in grave danger. He is severely depressed. The last time I saw him alive was on April the 9th, 2015, on his birthday. I was very much aware of his depression, but my hands were tied.
How do you feel about the risk factors with this young man?
I think it's very serious. I think that she has a stranglehold on that poor boy.
If he had been a supportive, at least financially, father until the court absolutely made him, I could have gotten them both the help they needed.
Pamela, neither boy went to the doctor other than once a year for a well check until I left. It was under your sole parenting, because you kept me out of it, that these poor boys had to go to the doctor in and out all the time. I'm already paying you. Listen, let me talk.
Pull the court document. It says exactly what he paid.
You trying to talk to this woman, Dr. Phil?
I don't have any trouble at all. What is your goal here?
My goal is to help this one.
Well, let me tell you, it's you just keep talking louder and louder, and I can tell you it's rain that makes the flowers grow, not thunder.
Fine.
And Pamela and Joseph are blaming Pete for the death of his 15-year-old son, Pete Jr., who died by suicide. But Pete and Lori say, actually, it's Pamela's fault, and claim the Department of Social Services has indicated her as the person who was responsible. We're going to find out why. Here, we'll be right back. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. Well, we've run out of time, but I still have a whole lot to say to this family. Things start to heat up even more when Pamela and Pete go toe-to-toe with endless accusations flying over who is really to blame for their 15-year-old son's tragic death. And you'll find out exactly what Pete says to Pamela that angered many women in the audience.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil, the former priest and the scorned ex-wife.
This is pure hatred.
This is pain.
Who's to blame for their son's death?
Peter died under her roof. She doesn't appear to have any recognition of what she's done.
Do you believe that she would want your son to be dead?
Yes.
You sorry son of a...
You shut up.
I don't have to shut up anymore.
Let me finish.
You are finished!
That's Monday.
Plus, we'll talk to Pete's sister, Audrey, who also comes out of the gate with her own set of accusations. I want to thank all of my guests today. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Thanks, guys.